Welcome, everyone, to the Courageous Truth Podcast. As always, I am honored that you have chosen to spend a little bit of time with me today. You may notice some dogs barking. You may notice some cars driving by. I'm out in front of my house getting ready to go on a camping trip, and just wanted to kind of share my heart for the events that took place today. I'm 45 years old, and this is the first time that there has been a assassination attempt, I believe, in my lifetime. I know there was an assassination attempt against Ronald Reagan, but I'm not sure. I was born in 1979, so if there was, I was pretty young. My heart is really heavy, mainly because there was an innocent person that was shot and killed by a gunman. For attending a political rally, for standing up for what they believed in, and standing vocally and supporting their candidate of choice. They went to a rally, and wherever they were positioned to sit, and I'm sure the information will come out over the next few days, that person lost their life, and that is a tragic thing. It's tragic when anybody loses their life, but in this kind of a setting and situation, bullet wasn't meant for them. It was meant for someone else, and they took the brunt of it, and now we have a family that's grieving. What was attempted today was the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, and it was a very specific time because they wanted him assassinated on live TV. They wanted to put our nation into absolute chaos. They wanted to put the world in chaos by flashing the assassination of a presidential candidate on live TV, a former president on live TV. And I've watched, over the past 5 or 6 hours, different people weigh in on the situation, different news outlets, different social media influencers weigh in on it. And really what I come down to is that our nation is at war. We are in an ideological civil war, and there is no mistaking that ideologues from the right and the left are beginning to clash, and it's turning violent. And we saw that today. I don't know all the specifics. Probably, within the next 48, 72 hours, the specifics will come out. All the theories will come out. I almost said conspiracy theories, but the truth will come out. They're already starting to come out. But we need to pray for our nation. And it's hard because I don't believe that the right and the left can come together, and I don't think that they should. We shouldn't compromise what is true for the sake of somebody else's delusion. The left has been led to believe that MAGA Republicans are terrorist extremists. Our president, Joe Biden, said that in his speech at, I believe it was Independence Hall, that's in Philadelphia. He said those words, that the mega extremists are the biggest threat to our nation and democracy. I heard it come out of his mouth. And there are people that are leaning into this ideology that think if we can put out their leader, we can put out their spirit, we can put out their movement. You see, this really has nothing to do with Donald Trump. This has to do with wanting to destroy the patriotism of our nation so they can rebuild it, so that they can decide and define what patriotism is. There's been a rewriting of history. There's been a rewriting of morality. There's been a rewriting of ethics. There's been a rewriting of truth. And people don't seem to want to see it. I just did a podcast a few days ago about Project 2025, and the left is so afraid of it. because they put words in its mouth. They give it definitions it doesn't mean. They make it to say something it doesn't mean. It is conservative. It is conservative, and we want it to be conservative. We need a conservative nation. The nation that is being led by the left does not work. It is a formidable disaster. And so I just wanted to take this time to realize wherever you're at, whatever emotions you're feeling, we need to pray for our nation. We need to realize that we are in very, very serious times. This proves it. We've seen the indictments of Trump. We've seen the attacks of him. We've seen the setups, the sting operations. He's been, the most attacked man in probably the history of our nation. I'm not sure how to put into words as a pastor how to respond to this other than realize that we are in serious times. And how we respond as Christians, how we respond as Americans is going to mean everything. We got to understand that the left is going to try to bait us. The left does not care about us. They do not obviously care about human life. This person who was the gunman isn't just some random person. But I'm sure that he was set up, staged, and this thing was very planned, especially the angle it came at. It came to Trump's right. And after watching the video a few times, it was very emotional. It was to see someone who I believe is going to be our next president, our next leader of our nation, and that has some very good ideas and very good policies that could, in a lot of ways, save our nation from absolute interior demolition, is so hated that they want to take his life. They want to assassinate him. A presidential assassination is not a joke. It's a real thing. It's very serious. But as Trump realized what was happening, and he grabbed his ear and he dropped behind the podium, he was surrounded by Secret Servicemen. People were screaming. There was true fear in the crowd. There was chaos. There was confusion. They brought him up to his feet, and he was secured by armed guards and personnel. And he asked for his shoes, which I thought was kind of interesting. Probably didn't want to leave his nice shoes there. And he held his hand up as he was going down, and he pumped his fist. And that was probably one of the most powerful political moments I'd ever seen in my life. He was pumping his fist, saying to you and saying to me, we've got to keep fighting. No matter what, we've got to keep fighting. We've got to keep fighting for our nation. We've got to keep fighting for our freedom. We got to keep fighting for what's right. We got to keep fighting for morality. We got to keep fighting for ethics and integrity. And we've got to keep fighting against all those things that are trying to destroy our nation from the inside. What I've realized about the Democratic Party and about Democratic voters, either Democratic voters, and if you're a Democrat and you're a Democratic voter, I believe that you are either deceived massively or you are in willful ignorance, because the Democratic Party has shown who they are. Their lies do not work. Their lies do not hold up underneath the spotlight of truth. Their lies don't hold up. They're dangerous. They're obviously out to assassinate their political opponent, jail their political opponent, put their political opponent and voters in jail. And we could go on and on. But that fist pump with blood on his face, a 76-year-old man had the audacity, the courageous audacity to pump his fist in the air and say, we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep going, never give up. If they take me out, you keep fighting. And I thought that was one of the most sincere things I've ever seen Donald Trump do. And right there, it secured my vote. Secured my vote and secured my support, and I will rally people to his cause right there. Because who does that? Who steps into the line of fire when there's nothing to gain. There's nothing to gain for him except building a country that he believes will be an amazing country. So I want us to consider that. We need to pray for our nation, pray for Donald Trump. I'll tell you this, as a conservative Christian pastor Republican, I never want to see that happen to Joe Biden. I just want him to be removed from office. I want him voted out. I never want to see him hurt. I never want to see him attacked or anything, any political opponent. I just want him voted out. Just go on a long, long vacation and leave us alone. Stop destroying my country. Stop taking my tax dollars and giving them to foreign wars where you're the only one benefiting. I never want to see that happen to my political opponent. So I think now as Republicans, as conservatives, as Christians, we've got to take the high road. We've got to stand strong. We've got to keep fighting. We don't want to flip this and sink to their level. We've got to stand strong. We cannot take their bait. I believe our ideology is proving now more than ever how true it truly is. The Democratic narrative is falling apart. And we saw that today. And I believe with all my heart that God protected Donald Trump. And my heart goes out to the folks who lost their lives, who were injured. God loves them just as much as he does Trump or anybody else. God does. And my heart breaks for them. But I am thankful that Donald Trump is alive and our nation doesn't have to look at footage from now until eternity of a presidential candidate, former president, being shot in the head at a rally with a lot of people who love him and love his policies and want to see him make America great again. So we need to understand we are in a spiritual war. If you are not a Christian, you need to surrender your life to Jesus right now. And you need to take up arms in a spiritual battle. There is a spiritual war. There is a devil and there is a God. And there is only one winner, and the winner already won. And that's our God and Creator. We call him Jesus Christ. So thank you for tuning in. I apologize for any sounds or beeping. I don't have any microphones. I'm just outside in my front yard speaking into the microphone on my phone. But I had to weigh in on what was happening. So God bless you. Continue to take a courageous stand for the truth now more than ever. Be discerning, be wise, and stay in your word. If you are not a believer, if you do not have a Bible, go out and get one. Start reading the Gospels. Start learning about who Jesus was. And you will begin to see the same spiritual battle he fought is being fought today. And he is our victor, and he's the one we follow. He's the one we follow. We don't follow political figures. So God bless you. Continue to take a courageous stand for the truth. And I will see you next week on a brand new episode. God bless you.